Today on Cooking for Kyle, we'll be making chicken cordon bleu. I've never made this before, so we're going to just have to go ahead and try it and see how it works. No guarantees. I start with just a large chicken breast. I'm going to put it into a Ziploc bag, and we're going to flatten it with a rolling pin. A little rubber mallet or whatever would be fine. This is what I have laying around, so you don't want to, you gotta kind of, we just want to make it nice and flat because we want to make it thin. It's because we're going to roll it up later and we want it to deep fry fairly quickly, if that's how I end up doing it. And so we're just gonna, you gotta kind of tap it firmly, but if you, we'll give it a big whack. Chicken breast is kind of tender, so it'll fall apart if you're not careful. You don't want to break it, but you want to just kind of keep flattening it. So make a big chicken pancake essentially, and now we're going to want to kind of pat it dry with a paper towel. I've laid out some plastic wrap, and we're going to place our chicken. I put the smooth outer, like the top, you'll call it. I put that at the bottom, but then again, I don't know what I'm doing. Then we're gonna get some Swiss cheese, and you gotta be careful here because we're gonna, I think eventually we're going to deep fry this thing, and we don't want cheese exposed because that will, you know, not end well. So just kind of put some cheese on there, roughly the outline of the chicken breast, and then a little bit of ham, kind of in the same general vein. Try not to get it too wide. It's a nice big breast, so I gotta used a full piece of ham on that. And so now what we're going to do is we're just going to roll it up. This is why we need it flat, because it won't roll if it's not pancake flat. And this is a really big one. I was afraid to hit it too hard and get it to split. This is it's a real big piece there. And then we're going to keep it nice and tight with the plastic wrap. We're gonna roll it up, and then we're going to twist one end to get it nice and snug in there, and same with the other end. And what we've done is just kind of compressed it into a tight little cylinder. And there you go. So we're gonna do that for all of our chickens. So now we've reached, whoa, what's that? Woo woo, oh, my thumb in there. There we go. So now we've reached to the point of the show where we're going to do a bit of an unplanned foray. This is one of the two bags that I pulled out of the freezer to make. I thought I had like 2 chicken breasts in each one, but this is full of chicken thighs. I've never heard of making chicken cordon bleu with chicken thigh, but we'll give it a try. And sorry about all that shaking. It's hard to hammer the counter that you're working on without shaking the camera a little bit. So there it is, nice, and just get it as flat as you can. The flatter the better. I'm not having a great time getting these real flat, but I'm afraid to tear them. So pat it down.
And we're going to get our plastic wrap out. Chicken down.
Now, note on rolling, I didn't really emphasize this before, but whenever you're rolling, you've got to be careful to try to, when you're done, have chicken on the outside as much as possible, and like no exposed cheese and ham, because those are not going to bread properly. So go ahead and a little bit of ham there. A little bit of ham there. And so what you want to roll from the narrow side, whatever side you deem has a narrower end. I'm going to say this one, so we're going to roll this up. This is very experimental. Don't try this at home, kids. And then wrap and emphasize, get this as tight as you can because we need it to congeal into that shape before we try to bread and fry it. Nice, and get the air out and tighten that down. And there's our attempt at a chicken breast or chicken thigh. So here's our collection of chicken wraps and put them on a tray, and I'm going to stick them in the refrigerator to chill. I'd say at least a half an hour, but probably Coca-Cola, you're in the way. At least a half an hour, but maybe like a couple hours or so. We want to try to get those to set. So I think I'm going to call an audible here and do something that's going to make that last step of putting those in the fridge unnecessary. Whenever I look at the, oh, I need to switch the camera. Can I do that? Look at some of these and look at the thickness. I just have trouble imagining that the interior of those are going to be cooked in a deep fry environment. So I'm going to go ahead and pre-cook these in the sous vide method. This up, put it over here on the counter. We're gonna dip the cooker in there, and we're gonna set it for 140. That's not enough to cook chicken, but we don't need to fully cook it here. We just need to get it the insides to a warm temperature so we can finish it up in the deep fryer. So some of these bags are floating kind of high. Since I don't have a vacuum sealer, I can't get all the air out completely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try some whiskey stones and put those in there. Try to increase the density of the package, adding some weight, and try to get the air out and see whether that helps. And it's still, I wouldn't say it's sinking, but it's at least not coming up. It's not floating above the water like it was, so it's improvement. Try it with the other better. I feel better about the level of immersion now. So we're gonna let this go for about an hour and a half.
And that was the launch just moments ago.
It's been about hour and it's been a couple hours probably, and we're gonna go ahead and pull these now and wait for them to start to cool off. We're doing something unprecedented today on Cooking for Kyle. We're actually going to cook for Kyle in our very first crossover episode. Gonna get a couple things going on here. We got the be quiet. We got to start heating up the oil, and over here I have my saucepan that I'm going to use to make the sauce. Do you have the well, do you want to hold this, or you want me to get the camera?
I can hold it.
Yeah, just you were what? Oh, like a medium-high heat, and melt 3 tablespoons of butter, and that's probably, we'll wait for that to melt, so you probably can turn off the camera. All right, we're gonna put in 3 tablespoons of flour, along with our 3 tablespoons of butter. Mix that up, try to make a bit of a roux. You know what a roux is, Kyle?
It's like a sauce
starter.
Yeah, exactly. Good job. You're so smart. Why am I even making these for you? You can do this on your own. And it's gonna be boring to look at for a minute. You can start to see how the it's starting to kind of, it was kind of all clumped together. Now it's starting to kind of fall apart a little bit, melt down there. So got a little brown, and then we'll go ahead and throw in our 2 cups of milk, but not all at once. Gotta go a little bit at a time, give the roux some time to absorb. Oop, yeah, make sure to make a big mess on Kyle's stove if you can. This is where, if you're not careful, you get this really clumpy and it won't dissolve. I think we'll be all right. Riveting television. Wait. I can't believe that Sophie would rather watch popsicles getting made. This is amazing. So it's starting to get hot. Got a whisk to kind of break up some of those solids in there. We're gonna add the rest of the milk now that we think that the roux is dissolving, and we'll get that warm before we add the last 2 ingredients. So we're gonna add a little bit of garlic, exactly 1 teaspoon. Measure that out precisely. And we're gonna measure out exactly 3 tablespoons of Dijon
1, 2,
mustard. 2,
3.
no,
3.
7. Got it. Stir that up. And now we're gonna add precisely 1/3 of a cup of Parmesan. Maybe that's close to a half. I done ruined it. All right, so when that warms up, whenever all that mixes in, we'll have our sauce ready to go. So now we're gonna check on the status of the oil. Just 1 drop, you don't want a big... Oh. That's too hot, actually, I think. So I'm gonna let that cool off a bit. And we'll come back to it in a couple minutes. So we've got our chicken, which is still in our little plastic wraps. And we're gonna unwrap them now, see what they're like, see how much they stay together. There we go. I think this one is actually one of the thighs. That might be, no, I don't think so. Not sure. We're gonna start by rolling it in flour. Make sure to get both, like the edges also. And then we're gonna roll it in cream. Try to get it covered in cream to get, basically making a nice little glue patch here. And then we're gonna roll it in some panko, which is big crunchy breadcrumbs. All right. That's how we're gonna do that. And then we'll do that with all 3 of them before we start to fry. Now we're going to, we're ready to do the final step, which, well, before the plating, obviously. We're gonna try to put this in here and hope it doesn't explode too much. Pretty good. I think I can get all 3 of these in at once. Got it overflowing. Okay, so they shouldn't have to cook too terribly long because the chicken's already cooked. Cooked about to the point we want it. You can see it's already brown enough. That oil is pretty hot. So we'll go about maybe 2 minutes. We'll flip it, and then we'll go another minute or 2, and we should be ready to plate then. Okay, so it's nice and brown, so we're going to go ahead and turn it. We'll get the other side done, and since we sous vide them already, the inside should be cooked. We're just kind of warming it up. Well, or it should be, well, I guess what I'm saying is it shouldn't take too long to get it up to the temperature we need. I forgot to bring my meat thermometer, and Kyle said he didn't have one, so we're just gonna risk it. We're gonna live on the edge, but I don't think we should have any trouble. The plating, this one actually takes a bit of doing for the plating. We're gonna get this guy on the cutting board, and we're gonna take a sharp knife and cut it into little medallions, and hopefully we can get the breading to stay. We might not be able to. Not sure about this. We'll try it. We might do it a different way later. Should probably not as thin of medallions, and then we can put it on a plate like so. Get all of the breading, and finally add a little bit of sauce to it. And voila, chicken cordon bleu for Kyle.